Hi dear students, this is vocabulary part 2. As I told you last time, if we learn the vocabulary etymologically, that is through root words, we would not only be able to learn it faster but also retain it. Learning is an easy task, but with retention of that vocabulary is a hard nut to crack. Is something that scares a lot of students away from vocab. So that's why we prefer to teach you vocabulary through root words. By learning one root, you learn a lot of words. Today we're going to take some more roots or prefixes or suffixes through which to learn a number of words. So today, to begin with, let's take manias and phobias. Let's take mania first. Mania means addiction, addiction to or obsession with. When you are addicted to something or when you're obsessed with something, you're a maniac. Mania is the noun, maniac is the adjective, and it can also be used as a noun, maniac. Let's take a list of words ending in mania. The first one, dipsomania. Dipsomania means addiction to alcohol. And an alcoholic is called a dipsomaniac. Second word, bibliomania. One who is crazy about books, one who is obsessed with reading books, who is addicted to reading books is bibliomaniac. Bibliomania means addiction to books. Third word, narcomania. You must all have heard about narcotics. Narcomania. Narco means drugs. Narcomania means addiction to drugs. Then the next one, phagomania. Phagomania means excessive eating or yeah, addiction to eating a lot of food. One who's obsessed with food, wants to eat all the time. Phagomania. A phagomaniac is a glutton, or the gluttons are, or the gluttons suffer from phagomania. Phagomania, addiction to excessive eating. Mythomania. Myths. You know what myth means. Myth, mythology, mythological. Myth means a lie. Mythomania is the addiction of lying or the addiction of exaggerating something. There are people who are always fabricating stories. They're always telling lies. They are mythomaniacs. They suffer from mythomania. So, mythomania, addiction to lying or exaggerating something. Word number 6, egomania. You know what ego means. Ego means self, or ego means pride. One who talks about himself all the time. One who is proud. One who is self centered, always praising himself or talking about himself. He's suffering from egomania. So, egomania, addiction to talking about oneself. Hedonmania. You must have heard the word hedonism. Hedonism, hedonist. Hedonist is the one who believes that pleasure is the pursuit of life. Hedonism, hedonist. And from the same word comes hedonmania. Hedonmania means addiction to excessive pleasure. Kleptomania. Kleptomania is addiction to stealing things. One who is in the habit of stealing things. It's more psychological. There are rich guys, even prosperous guys, who go about stealing things, not because they are in need of it, but because they are suffering from this disease called kleptomania, addiction to stealing things. Logomania. You know the Greek root logos. Logos means science, study, or even word. Logos means word also. Logomania means addiction to talking. One who talks too much, one who is talking all the time. Those great chatterboxes suffer from a disease called logomania. Addiction to talking, addiction to talking. Anthomania. Anthomania means addiction to flowers. There are some people who love flowers excessively, who want to be in the midst of flowers all the time, who are dreaming about flowers all the time. They're called anthomaniacs. Anthomania is a disease, or let's call it anthomania is the addiction to flowers. So we discussed 10 manias. Now let's talk about some phobias in today's lecture. Phobia. Phobia means irrational fear. Irrational fear. Phobia is a fear that is not rational. There is no reason to be afraid, and you're still afraid. Then you're suffering from some phobia. Irrational fear. The first word. Glossophobia. Glossophobia. Now, the root is glossa, Greek glossa, and glossa means tongue or language. Glossa means language or tongue. Here, glossophobia means an irrational fear of public speaking. There's no reason to be afraid, and you're still afraid. That's called phobia. Glossophobia, an irrational fear of public speaking. Aerophobia, fear of flying. Hemophobia, you all know hemo means blood. Hemophobia, irrational fear of blood. Cynophobia. Cynophobia is an irrational fear of dogs. There are some people who are always afraid of dogs. They don't want to go near the dogs. They can never have dogs as pet animals in their houses. Afraid of dogs. An irrational fear of dogs. Cynophobia. Microphobia. Acrophobia means an irrational fear of germs. There are some people who are too afraid of germs. Their attempts to keep themselves germ free are outrageous. Acrophobia, irrational fear of germs. Well, acrophobia. You must already know this. Acrophobia. It means an irrational fear of heights. Traumatophobia. Traumatophobia. There are some people who are always afraid of getting injured. They're driving, but they're afraid of getting injured. They're walking and they think, what if I fall down and get injured? They're getting down the stairs, but they just have an irrational fear. Oh, what if I roll down the stairs? I'll be injured. They're suffering from traumatophobia, an irrational fear of injury. Next word. Xenophobia. You may have heard about this word. Xenophobia. It's an irrational fear of foreigners. As soon as they see foreigners, they're afraid, they're scared. Xenophobia, an irrational fear of foreigners. Petrophobia. Petrophobia is an irrational fear of planes, aeroplanes, or flying. Irrational fear of planes or flying. And finally, phobophobia. Phobophobia. There are some guys who are afraid of phobias. They don't want to suffer from any phobia, and so they are afraid of phobias. An excessive, irrational fear of phobia. Phobophobia. An irrational fear of phobias. That's it for now. Thank you. Have a nice day.